Hi, can you bring the box? We have an unboxing video to do today before we get started on our MacBook repair. Hey everybody, how's it going today? So before the MacBook repair begins, see if I can clear this desk a little bit. This door is too tiny. Can't fit anything anywhere. Yeah, I can't fit this on my desk because it's going to hit the keyboard, and I have no place to put the keyboard. Ugh, I'm so sick of this tiny store. Right. Box cutter, hi. But I have X-Acto. I'm being dumb. I'm not opening this the right way, am I? I'm a dumbass. I thought it slid out of this. It opens differently than the way I thought it does. I can't Do you deserve the plaque if you're too stupid to unbox it? You're bigger than Vancouver. You're bigger than Venice. You're even bigger than Las Vegas. 1 million subscribers. Maybe you've imagined that day for a long time, or maybe you never thought you'd grow so big. Either way, not much can match the satisfaction of finding out that your creativity, your ideas, that your voice speaks to 1 million people across the globe. We know that being able to touch the lives of so many people is reward enough, but we're incredibly proud of all you've done, so we hope you'll accept this Gold Creator Award as a token of our esteem. While with your track record, we suspect you're only going to keep growing, and we can't wait to see you reach the next milestone, 10 million subscribers. It may seem far away, but remember the days when you were psyched to have 1,000? You've amazed us. Keep daring, keep dreaming big, and keep creating. You're the inspiration for everything we do. Sincerely, the lady that everybody dislikes at YouTube to the point where when her face is in a video, they have to turn off the comments because of all the rage she gets for the fact that she appears to be ruining the business. CEO, YouTube. Anyway. Even the paper they print this on is pretty nice. You know, if YouTube put as much effort into caring about the people that were on their platform as they did into this piece of paper over here, this is nicely textured shit. Look at this. Look at this. This is something. Then, yeah, let's see if I can get this in focus here. Can you see this? Yeah, this is some seriously nice paper. This is some fancy stuff. You can see I got to clean some stuff on my microscope. I haven't had any time to do anything like that recently, but I will have to do that soon. This old setup. Look at this. Look at that paper. Look at the grain in this stuff. This is quality. Again, if YouTube put the effort that they put into this piece of paper, into the actual people that make their platform something worth a damn, my God, this would be one amazing platform. All right, so let's just put this aside. See what we got here. Presented to Louis Rossman for passing 1 million subscribers. No flux, Arvid. So crap, I forgot to put on my speakers, so I can't hear when that happens. Pretty cool. This thing's heavy. This thing's much heavy. The 100,000 subscriber one is really tiny. It's kind of... It's much lighter by comparison. This thing is huge. Hi, can you bring the 1 million one so we can compare?
What? Okay.
I mean the 100,000 one? Look at this thing. This thing is fucking... Poor Eli. I feel bad for Eli. That's what I feel bad about. I remember when I had about 80,000 subscribers, I left a comment on one of his videos 3.5 years ago at 80,000 subscribers that said race you to 1 million when he was at about, I don't know, 800,000 or something. And it was a joke. It was a joke. But now it's... I can see my face in it. Look at this. Shiny. Yeah, it's a very mirror-like quality to it. They adhesed it to the window. It's not going to come off without destroying the window, so no comparison. Oh well. Look at it! It's shiny. Thank you, Jason Barney, for the $2. Alright, time to put this somewhere. Hi, find some place to hang this thing. Can you influence any New York City landlords with a gold play button to get a new space? You know what, I'll email that. We have lease negotiations on Monday for the new store. So, what do we have here? This is a MacBook that appears to not be turning on. So first thing we're going to do, as we always do, is unplug the charger. Not unplug the charger, is unplug the battery so that it doesn't influence our reading as to how much power the board by itself is taking. So we unplug the battery power, and now we're going to continuously unplug the battery indicator. So that. Thank you very much, John, for the $2. I highly appreciate it. Greg, we did put the kibosh on that new store because the building is in not good condition. And the building management are cons. And I found a better one. Right around the corner. Right around the corner. $300 less. 300 square feet larger. In mint fucking condition. And nice management. Nice building staff. So we're continuing with that. So let's take a look at this. Now, we've unplugged the battery and all that. We're going to plug in the charger and see how many amps this takes. It looks like it takes 50 milliamps at 19 volts, which means it's turning on. It is turning on because I see the fan spinning, even though there's rampant corrosion all over it. Let's see if we get a picture on the screen. We have caps lock, and we have an Apple logo. So this probably needs an ultrasonic, and it's good. Boring. Let's grab another one. Let's see if it can turn on with keyboard. Let's see, does keyboard power button allow it to work? Interesting, now it's stuck at 5 volts again. That's interesting. 5 volts, 20 milliamps. Alright, so let's see what does the other port do. Alan seems to be doing well. I spoke to him a few days ago when I found this new space to break the news to him. Do you think I could show the new landlord my plaque and suggest that they give me free rent in exchange for exposure?
Influencer?
Yes.
Could be a little tough.
We start lease negotiations on Monday on the phone conference call.
Oh yeah?
I'm excited.
That's
I get to figure out what the catch is. I think the only catch so far is that the place has scaffolding around it, so decreased visibility.
Well, you have an informed customer base. Therefore, I don't think visibility from the street is a thing that matters to your business model.
Yeah, as long as I can put my A sign on the street.
Yeah.
Because so people can see it as they walk by.
Yeah, finding it when you know what you're looking for, that's key. But like, we don't. Usually, the people that come in from the street, They don't know how much things are. They bring something that's irrelevant, and they're usually curious about it, and it's usually not a business thing.
Yeah. Please be careful, but make the right call. Yeah. A lot of people have said that I should be less picky. And one of the things I think is either A, they're multimillionaires, or B, they're making decisions that they would not make if it was actually their money. Or perhaps both. But if I had went with that space on 30th Street, absolute minimum, I'd be looking at spending an additional $120,000 over what I would spend on this space. Because, like, could this space use some paint? Sure. Different light fixtures? Yeah. Maybe new floor tiles? Yeah, but it's not mandatory. But does this place need $20,000 to $40,000 of construction? No. Much less the $140,000 to $200,000 that 30th Street would have cost to make it into a viable store. Instead of blaming the construction workers for the fact that the work was so much, perhaps I should be blaming the space for asking for $12,833 with only 3 months to free rent on a space that is just not attractive and dilapidated. You know? I don't want to spend that much money for a space that's not attractive or dilapidated. It's not in the cards for me. And there was a better one right around the corner. I got really tired of hearing so many people say, you're not going to find a better deal. It's going to be hard to find a better deal. You're not going to find a better deal. Well, you know what? It may be hard to find a better deal. You know what? It may be hard to find a better deal. It's my money, and I'm willing to put the time in to find that better deal. You know, as I said, it took me 6 months to find this place that I have here, and I'm 2 months into my current search because I started around the end of August. And I got more serious about it in the beginning of September. So I'm 2 months in. I still have, with the time budget I gave myself, I still have quite a bit more time to go. So I'm not in a hurry. I'm not in a rush. And I'm not going to act as if I'm in a rush when I have no reason to be. I think it's important to take things nice and easy until you find the deal that you want. Many people say this is what the market is, but the market is nothing but what people are willing to pay for things. And if everybody's selling a bottle of water for $10 and one person walks up and says, I'll give you it for $7, just because they're 30% cheaper than everybody else doesn't mean it's a deal. And it doesn't mean you should take it because it's the best deal. It may be the best deal, but it's still a ripoff. And until I get to the point where I'm completely dehydrated and about to die, I will wait until I can get a bottle of water at a more reasonable price. And at this point in time, I don't feel dehydrated. I don't feel like it's an absolute need. So this board was working, and it booted up. I saw minor corrosion on it that you could probably see. I love this new camera lens I got up here. This thing's effing amazing. Look at this. Goes up to 135 millimeters, so before I even get in the microscope, you can get a really good idea what's going on the board. I like that. And you can see that we've got some corrosion over here by the backlight circuit, which was working because we saw an apple. Over here by the 3.3 and 5 volt power circuit, which must have worked because it turned on. And right over here by the charging circuit. Please get a build estimate from first contractor on 30th Street in the new space. Assume the lease negotiations go well. From the first contractor on 30th Street. Yeah, that guy can suck it. No. That guy, no. Nope. Mr. $150,000 to do a room. Anyway, and then there's a little bit over here that you're not going to be able to see with that camera lens. So I'm going to switch over to the microscope cam where it's going to be easier to see. I don't think you'd be able to see that level of corrosion. And I am going to have to clean the lenses and everything of this. I'm very sorry. I've just been busy recently and haven't had time to go over the small things. My apologies for that. So there's probably a mark that you see inside my microscope camera. But I've always prided this channel on having really good microscope imagery and, good quality. And I've kind of lazied out on that today, so my apologies. But as you can see over here, you've got a corroded resistor, and you've also got this little section of blue that's barely noticeable if you're not really experienced because it's not a clump. So when you have a clump like this, that's obvious. But this over here is not a clump, so it's not obvious. And many people ask me, why is it that you will put the board through soldering processes and reheating before putting it in the cleaner? So these are the two chips that are going to communicate with my charger in order to tell the charger, I want 20 volts. I don't want 5 volts. 5 volts is not good enough for me. I'm not a cell phone. I'm not a GoPro. Thank you very much for the 638 rubs. But getting back to this, the issue is that it's not putting out 20 volts. The charger was putting out 20 volts, and then I took the board out and I plugged it back in just to see what was going on with it, and it wasn't working. I was doing that because I wanted to test the power button on the keyboard to see if there was anything wrong with the keyboard before I got to the board. And I wasn't able to do that because it stopped turning on. Now, these two chips over here, the CD3215s, are going to be responsible for speaking to the charger, as I've said in many past videos, so that the charger will put out 20 volts rather than 5 volts. This is not a GoPro, this is not a cell phone, this is a MacBook. And a MacBook is not going to work off of 5 volts or 9 volts. It works off of 20 volts. USB-C chargers can put out numerous... I did, and it's not the Lexington one, and I'm not going to be posting about that space until the lease is signed. I'm recording the process, but Season 2 is behind closed doors. So this board needs 20 volts to turn on, and a USB-C charger can put out 5 volts, 9 volts, or 20 volts. And by default, it's going to put out 5. And that's enough that I can power this chip just enough to turn on so that it can request 20 volts from the charger. But it doesn't put out 5 volts. It doesn't put out 20 volts immediately. What if it was a cell phone? You know, it's safe to put out the lowest possible voltage. It's not safe to start by putting out the highest possible voltage. So a charger, a USB-C charger, is going to put out the lowest voltage that is set for it. Thank you very much. I appreciate that very much. Thank you, Adam. I'm going to stop explaining this now because I'm not going to be able to since this beeps every few seconds. I'm just going to get to reflowing this. I've explained this shit already a million times in past videos, so fuck it. So thank you very much to Adam Mundell for the 20. I appreciate it. So we are going to reflow this. Now, the reason that I'm going to reflow this is rather than clean it, is if I put it through the cleaner, the very small bits of the solder balls under there that have kind of started to disintegrate are going to fully go away. And if it fully goes away, then I'm not going to be able to, do anything. I'm gonna have to replace the chip. It's not gonna work. Whereas if I heat it up prematurely, before I do any sort of cleaning, there's a chance that little disintegrated solder ball may come back to me. And that's what I'm looking for here. If the chip itself is actually dead, then nothing is going to fix it with reflowing. This is not going to work. But if the solder balls under it are starting to disintegrate as a result of the corrosion and the electricity, then not only is the flux and the hot air going to clean it, it's also going to take those solder balls and bring them back to their prior state of being balls. And that's what we want on our board. We want some nice big balls. Now see the red stuff coming out the top? See that? That's not blood. That's green corroded shit. And the flux is cleaning all that out. You see how the chip moves? Once it moves, I'm good to go. Now we're going to wait for it to cool off for a moment. And we're going to do the same thing on the corroded sections on the other side. On the other side of the board, we have some corrosion by our backlight circuit, some corrosion by the SPI ROM for the CD3215s and Thunderbolt, and some corrosion by our 5 and 3 volt buck controller. So we're going to put a proper amount of flux. There's a memory chip right next to that, so you know what we're going to do. And take a nice little metal shield and put it over that so we don't burn it. He said I'm gonna die. Yeah, that was noobish. How's Paul's pink eye? Did you remove Anel's leg? I haven't removed Anel's leg yet. Although the new space that I am looking at actually has ADA compliant bathroom. One of the bathrooms has those bars by the toilet that you can use to lift yourself up and lower yourself down onto it. I'm telling you, I'm really, really happy that I ignored every single person that said that. Thank you very much, Vladimir. I'm really happy that I ignored all the people that said, you're being too picky, just take a fucking space already. Because if I listen to those people, I would be paying more money at Lexington for less square footage and having to go upstairs out of the building to have that square footage. This space that I'm looking at has more square footage than the Lexington location. It costs $500 less than the Lexington location. And it's all in one space. I don't have to leave the store to go upstairs and go into another door. It's not dilapidated. I'm really happy because if I had listened to any of the people that said you're not going to get a better deal than this is going to be really hard to do better, you should just stop being picky. If I listened to any of those people, I'd have been behind the 8 ball, 6 figures. Thank you, Irfan Khan, for the $10. I highly appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, so now we got to see if this thing turns on. Let's see if it turns on. As you can see, it's now jumping up to 20 volts again and turning on with taking 500 milliamps. So this board was actually working, but it was working intermittently. The customer claims that it did not power on, and it was powering on. And then I tried to power it on again, and it didn't work. So the first thing we need to do is figure out what it is that's causing it to not turn on. In this case, it was stuck at 5 volts rather than 20 volts. Thank you very much, JP. I appreciate it. I am making good use of that drone. So the issue here was that it was not putting out 20 volts. The charger was putting out 5 volts because it was unable to communicate with the CD3215. The CD3215 was receiving its 3 volts. I didn't even bother checking that because the circuitry responsible for creating 3 volts looked fine, whereas the circuitry responsible for actually communicating with the USB-C charger looked like it was in terrible condition. When we did the reflow using some authentic NC559 V2TF flux, available on store.rossmangroup.com, the best store on the effing internet, even if it's running on Magento 1.9 and has a bunch of crappy pictures I took with my cell phone. Best store on the internet is that when I reflowed it, the way I was able to tell that there was a lot of corrosion under the chip, you started to see that red and that brown stuff, which is the board's version, the component level repairs version of blood and poop coming out from under the chip. And when I did that, gave it a reflow, the balls went back to good condition. The other thing that many people ask me is that why is it that I'm reflowing or soldering on the board while it's dirty? If I clean it, all those solder balls, all those connections under there are going to get whisked away. I don't want to clean because it's going to be difficult to separate the dirt from the solder. The ultrasonic cleaner doesn't care, whereas the flux does. When I flux and heat, the dirt gets destroyed. It gets washed away, but the solder ball itself is going to come back into a nice strong ball. But if I put it in the cleaner is indiscriminate. It's simply going to wash away everything. Little bits of solder that corroded, washed away. Dirt, washed away. It's going to wash away everything. A big common newbie mistake in this field, and it happens to me regularly when I get boards outsourced from other facilities, is that they ultrasonic them for too long. They think the more clean, the better. And it's something that, I do with flux. I figure the more flux, the better. Which, admittedly, when it comes to flux, it's just true. But when it comes to when it comes to cleaning, more cleaning is not more betterer. You are going to not just be cleaning the board; you're going to be cleaning away everything else as well. Think of it like those green screen plugins where you have a green screen behind you and you slide the chroma key thing. If you put the slider all the way to the other end, it's going to start removing you as well, and that's not what you want. So that's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for sharing what we do, and above all, thank you for all those people that showed up in Boston to say thank you, shake my hand or something. I'm sorry if I didn't have time to talk with many of you. I actually did a live stream from a place right across the street from the Boston State House, and I was going to say, everybody come here, and it didn't work because of Verizon. I had 0 to 1 bars of service the entire time I was there, even though it's a major metropolitan location, because Verizon sucks, which is very unfortunate given the amount of money that Verizon costs and the amount of time they've had to build a network. And I was hoping to meet with some more of you afterwards, but I was feeling very sick that day. I was feeling sick the day before I went. I was kind of under the weather, and I just wanted to go right back to the hotel and pass out, to be quite honest with you. So I'm sorry if I didn't get to talk with many of you afterwards. But for the people who showed up or took a picture or just wanted to talk, thank you very much for being a part of what it is we do. And thank you so much to Boston for being so welcoming and receptive of people who were coming from out of state to testify in your state, whether it was the people at the legislature or whether it was just the citizens of Boston that said, hi, oh, we know you, we're happy that you're here to testify, let me help you with this. That was awesome of you all. So thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. You know what? If you have a broken iPad that is useless, that you find that you don't believe is worth any money, I would absolutely love to use them to build Paul's office. Don't delay. Send them to 186 First Avenue, New York, 10009, front 1, attention Paul. That's attention Paul, 186 First Avenue, front 1, New York, 10009. Send us all the busted, broken iPads that you have. Any iPad, any age, any condition. And we will build Paul an office out of iPads.